welcome back to my channel. I'm here doing the 31 days of tarot, and today we're on day 12. And today's question, we are answering the divination tool that you've been using the most in 2019 outside of tarot, obviously. Instantly my first thought was I mostly use tarot, and my second thought was, second to that, I use oracle cards, and I don't really think oracle cards is a good enough answer for this question because it's pretty much a very similar thing. It's using cards. I thought I would speak about some other things I was doing, but honestly, I don't do any other things as much as I do tarot. The first thing I want to talk about that I've done the most besides tarot is meditation, and I've already seen huge benefits, although I don't think that counts as a divination tool, even though we can very easily get information and messages via meditation from our higher selves, from our spirit guides. It works very similar to tarot, that you just get that direct access. Again, I'm not sure if that would really count. The last thing I want to talk about that I have been doing a few times, and I have two examples out here on my altar just because I've not replaced them yet, and basically it's spells. So yeah, I experimented more with my spell work this year, and keeping in mind that I've not done a lot of experimenting with spells at all. I did a few this year, I did a few in 2019, and they worked out for me, so that was really cool. I think I did 3 or 4 spells that were successful, and then I have these ones that are finished complete spells. As far as I know, I haven't actually checked in with one of them, but these are, I can easily reset for new spells, so these are sort of completed spells. I can put these away now. I'll just show you how I do my spells, because I just do my own thing. When it comes to spells, I don't use spell books. Maybe I will in the future, I'll never say never, but I've just not been drawn to that. It doesn't feel natural, and I don't know, like, I just did them myself. I don't know if that is exactly wise or the right thing in other people's opinion, but they work well for me, and this way I didn't have to shop around for a million ingredients that I don't have. I just worked with what I had, and I set the intention, and I really believe the power is in the intention more than anything. So that's my belief. Like, I'm not putting down anyone's beliefs in like herbs and oils and rituals and all this. Like, I totally think there's space for that, you know, for people, but just for me and the type of person that I am, oh my god, that door. I really liked doing them myself, writing my own spells, which really, they're spells, but for me they're just more about intention setting. But I did do them in a style of spell work. So this is what they look like. I always put my spells in these like gifted boxes while they're waiting to come to fruition. Here you can see I've got a supermoon spell that I did way last year when we had the supermoon. You can see it's a while since I've renewed this spell. And this one is a spell I did for my holiday. And you can see I sort of draw symbols that relate to the spell. So you can see there's a little palm tree, a heart for love and kindness, the sun because it's a holiday, a star because I knew I'd be doing stargazing there. Moon one is obviously, I did a little doodle of the moon, the sign that the moon was in. And in the spells, I lay in my little containers for my spells, I lay the gifts, the offerings, you know. So I set an intention of why I'm adding each offering to the spell. I added, I believe, lavender for beauty, sage for grounding, a moonstone because it's a moon ritual, a moon spell, a feather that I just found outside, so I didn't buy it or anything because I'm vegan. And the feather was for like easiness, for lightness. I added it so like this spell can flow and go so easy and light, like a feather, happen easily, you know. Added a little something that's expensive for abundance. So if I'm giving something that costs money in the real world to the spell, then I was hoping that would manifest. And you can guess what that is. And then I also have a pine cone, which I imagine again is for more grounding. And then there's a little clear quartz in here, and I imagine I added that for sort of clarity in the spell. And then I wrote my intentions out that for the spell. I'm not going to show you because it's personal, and whatever you write should be personal. This was actually written on towards the end of September. I can see a lot of this stuff has been working out nicely. You know, it really is, and so I definitely want to keep this one flowing. And I do always start my spells like here with the date at the top. I'm trying to not show too much, and then here I put supermoon because it's a supermoon spell, and here I've written Dear Universe. So I do always start my spells with the Dear Universe, and I always so I remember almost what the spell is. I have those little doodles on the front. I've been called to do recently is to purchase a cauldron, and I do really want, after my spell has been sitting out and manifesting, way to ignite the energies of the spell, I would love to get a cauldron and burn the gifts other than the stones. I'm not going to burn the stones, but burn the other gifts inside, the herbs and stuff, not the stones and not the pine cone, but the herbs and stuff, and then plus burning the actual intention itself. And I want to see how that works out. And like I said, that's not something I've worked with yet, not something I've practiced, but I've definitely been getting a calling to get a cauldron. I'm quite excited because I think that's really going to take my spell work to the next level. And this was a very successful spell that has been completed now, and it was a spell of intentions that I wanted to set for my holiday, because I went on holiday in end of October, early November. And then I also have another spell here that I do want to pack away, because this is a complete spell that worked so well, and this was a spell I set an intention for before I got my cat, and this was about my cat, and that's why there's the little paw and the heart, and then the sage leaf. Rehoming adoption centre for cats. They'd let me know that they had a cat they thought was a good match for me, and then the night before I went to pick him up, I knew he was called Sage, and that's why I put a little sage, and I thought that was amazing that he was called Sage, and I love sage, and I use sage in my practice and everything. And this spell worked out so well. It all came true, everything I asked for, so I was really happy with that. And I do just have like a little quartz natural mini wand here that's sort of just balancing the energy of the spells, but these are all complete spells, so I guess I've just put them in there because they're complete spells, which means I have a spare spell holder, so that means time to do another spell. So I just have to have a little think about what spell I want to do for this. And I highly recommend writing your own spells if you've not tried that yet. If the idea of casting spells freaks you out, then just call it intention setting, because it's basically what it is. You set an intention that you want, and then you put it out into the universe, and then the universe helps that happen for you. It's that simple. So if you want to do spell work, go ahead and try it. There's nothing to be scared of. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and